up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Hey, welcome. It is Flatterday Night Fight. Yeah, it is Flatterday night. We have a Flatterday fun fest for you all tonight. Boy, you know how many times I practiced that to get it right, and I think I actually nailed it. So let's not screw this up and have to start the feed over again like we have to do when Kyle actually nails an intro for a change. Anyways, welcome everybody. We have tonight Team Skeptic versus Ryan Casey. Actually, I guess he's going by Flatman, so we're gonna call him Flatman because he's a flat earther. And I got special co-host John Gleason, aka Godless Engineer. John,
what's up, heathens? How y'all doing?
So John's actually going to be kind of running this more than I am, because I got to tell you, I actually have kind of a sore throat right now. It's kind of been scratchy, and I want to save it as long as I can because, you know, I don't want to blow this, you know, magnificent radio voice that I have, which I don't have. But he's going to kind of be guiding this a little bit more than me, I think, tonight. I'll jump in when it comes to any kind of the philo stuff, because I know Flatman is going to be talking a little bit about that kind of stuff, and then, you know, Godless Engineer can handle the science. But anyways, welcome back, Team Skeptic. Let me introduce you first. You've been with us a couple times to have these discussions. I don't know why you keep coming back. I haven't quite figured that out, but hey, glad that you do.
Well,
you're cool.
I figured it out. It's you and Godless Engineer and Kyle and Booleanator and everybody else that's involved with the show bringing me on here and giving me the chance to bitch slap somebody with my keyboard instead of doing it in the live chat. So I love the opportunity to do this live. So I appreciate you guys.
That is sweet. That's one of the nicest things I think anybody's ever said. We got to stop the show now. We don't even need to continue.
I'm crying. I'm crying. My eyes are like leaking right now.
Well, I believe that that you and Kyle are the absolute two greatest models for humanity. So,
man, like I don't hear that from like my mom. So this is like really kind of cool.
I'm just like kidding. You guys are fucking idiots.
Right? Yeah, we too. Thank you. That's what we're more used to, right? We get them a lot, especially when we have these kind of discussions on Flat Earth. Steve, why are you guys doing this? I don't know. Why the hell not? It's Flatterday. Anyways, Flatman, welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. You have not been here before. I know very little, if anything, about you. So please tell us about yourself. The more, the better, because like I said, I don't know jack shit about you, man. Or you can just sit there, be very quiet and concede. It's okay too. Flatman? Well, that was a fun discussion. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Hey, Team Skeptic, you win.
I think you're
Skeptic
muted
for the win.
Yeah, you have to unmute. And by the way, we had no technical difficulties going into this feed, so anything that's happened after that is not our fault.
He may actually be moving. Remember, he said he was moving his setup into another location. He may actually be in the process of doing that.
That's true.
Let's hope not.
Well, hey, okay. Well, hey, Godless Engineer, you got anything to like promote? Anything coming up? Anything to talk about? You have, by the way, Channel of the Year. Yay. And you're getting a
I know. I'm Channel of the Year. Somebody in the chat's already reminded me that people consider me dog shit. So, you know, there's that. But I was voted Channel of the Year, so it's kind of a hit or miss thing as to whether or not you like me. But yeah, so I don't really have anything big coming up. Just my normal schedule that I go through every week. I post about 5 times a week. Not all of it's flat Earth stuff. It's usually only 2 days that I do flat Earth centered stuff. And so, but I have that stuff coming up next week, and that's pretty much it. I've actually moved my live streams on Mondays to YouTube now instead of them exclusively being on Facebook. So we'll be live on Mondays and Fridays on that channel from now on, especially for 2019. So 2 streams a week, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, you do have a ridiculous amount of content.
Yeah, I was going to say, you deserve Channel of the Year, man. You put out so much shit. Like, I only wish I had enough time to put out 3 or 4 videos a week that you do. So,
and the funniest thing is when somebody actually complains, oh, well, Steve and Kai had bias and they, you know, wanted, you know, G to get that. So they kind of manipulated. Straight up, man. People put that name in. We had
Bullshit.
nothing fucking to do with that whatsoever, and so I just love watching people get triggered. Because no offense, but you got some detractors, right? So the people that are like, well, how did GE get Channel of the Year? Well, people voted. That's how people like the channel, and I watch his stuff too. I don't watch everything because no offense, you've got so much stuff. I can't take it all in, but I do watch. But yeah, people get triggered by that, and I was just like, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know I put out, something every single day, but I mean, that's what really works for the algorithm is saturating it. And so that way you have multiple avenues for people to find you. I mean, that's why NonSequitur is so successful you got to stream at least once every day, just about. So, I mean, you got a lot of content for people to find you. It's the same basic content on strategy on my channel. But, I streamline it. My process, so like I record, and in any one recording that I do a live stream on or whatnot, I usually can produce at least 2 videos out of it, and so that's pretty much how I can produce so much content. And I also cut up like some of my live streams that I do on Fridays and put them up there on Thursdays, and weirdly enough, those get as much, if not more, viewership than when I originally stream it. So it works out.
So it raises 2 important questions that need to be asked. One, is it true that Southern Israelite is bitch made?
Yes, Southern Israelite is bitch made, and also AT2 Productions in the chat. They had a hashtag GE has a massive penis, and I can't.
That was my follow-up question. That was actually my next question. Is that a valid statement? We want to make sure that we're putting out correct information here. Do you have the biggest penis of all?
Yeah. Do you guys know that one picture is like a medieval picture of the devil that's got a cart, and it's just a massive dick laying on top of the cart, and he's like carting through the town?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much me on a daily basis.
Yeah. I would hate to have that though. It must be hell on the back.
How many subscribers do I have to get before we start talking about my penis? It's pretty impressive.
First you have to have a channel that people watch. No, I know, it's kidding. By the way, we need to put your link in the video. We need to get people to Team Skeptic. You haven't watched his stuff. Ryan, are you back yet? Flatman, he has a channel too, but it's called, well, there's a whole bunch of them, but I couldn't find his exact channel. But there's something called The Truth Shall Set You Free. I believe there's the channel name. Was that right, Dave? Is that what he said?
It's the channel with the icon that's on the screen right now. That's supposedly a moon coming out of his forehead.
But
that he had during his awakening.
He's muted now. I don't know, either that or his microphone's not connecting right.
He was doing so well. He connected just fine. He had no audio issues. I was like, oh my goodness, a flat earther that doesn't have technical difficulties. This might go exceptionally well. But nope.
Yeah, he was an interesting conversation. So let's get him in here.
Is he still muted? I mean,
I don't know what's going on with his audio. Like, I'm not getting any audio whatsoever. Getting some video.
I haven't got any messages from him.
Is he still connected?
Yeah, I can see him right now. It's like he went into his storage unit. Like, I could even show it on screen. He's
Sorry,
there.
I'm trying to really restrain from. Oh, there he is.
Okay. I think we're making progress here.
He's just disconnected as soon as I did that. Yeah.
So close, yet so far.
I think he's trying to come back in.
Oh wait, he logged in.
There he goes.
This is as exciting as it gets. Is he here? Is he not?
I see him. I see him.
Hello?
Yay!
Am I back?
Yes.
You're back.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Woo! This is great. You can hear me, see me.
I'm so happy.
We can hear you,
happier beside myself. Okay, so let's get this party started.
Yes.
First, introduce yourself, and let's get into this. And what you got?
Okay, yeah. So my name is Ryan Casey. I've been going around as flat man here in Seattle. I was born in the western suburbs of Chicago. I was educated in a Catholic school system. I graduated 6th in my class out of 200 people. and I never had a backpack, never brought a book home, anything like that. I got a 34 on my ACT with her taking a practice test. I went to University of Illinois and was weeded out of there, if you mean. And at about 20 years old, I started questioning things, because when I realized I couldn't even tell the difference between a Democrat or, I started to think that, that was pretty fucked up. And I started to question things about age 20. Got into 9/11, got into world wars, got into all that stuff. But I was always a big universe guy. I believed in the infinite dust storm and the chaos and the Big Bang and all that stuff. And then on December 10th of 2016, I woke up with terrible chest pains. It happened 5 days in a row at 4 a.m. in the morning. On the 5th day, I decided to make a change and go vegan. So between December 15th and Christmas Day, I started seeing some very weird things. Things I was thinking about during the day were manifesting at night. And when that started happening, after 11 years of being an atheist, I started to say to myself, well, this doesn't seem like chaos. There seems to be some sort of order to this. So I essentially went agnostic. On Christmas Day, I was trying to talk conspiracy with my family and my girlfriend, and they're not very into conspiracy. So my brother says to me, you're just a conspiracy theorist. You want to believe in conspiracy, so you do. What do you think, the earth is flat? And I'd never heard that idea. And I said to him, no, that's probably just controlled opposition, something the government puts out there to muddy the conspiracy waters to make us all look like a bunch of fools. I didn't think about it much that day, went on my day. And then 2 days later, I'm researching Freemasons or something at 3 a.m. in the morning. And the Flat Earth Conspiracy is now on my YouTube feed. And after 11 years of researching conspiracy and the Flat Earth Conspiracy picking up speed since 2015, if there was anyone who should have seen that, it would have been me. So I click on the video, and I think the first one I watched was Jake the Asshole, or I think he was still Jake the Flat Earth Asshole back then, and I couldn't argue with any of it, and so I'm kind of the exception in the sense that most flat earthers become flat earthers because they can't debunk flat earth, or they can't prove the ball to themselves. I had a very weird experience going into the flat earth, but I knew immediately that there was no reason to believe the earth was a ball, once hearing that other people were thinking that as well. I remember as a kid flying on planes, flying over the Midwest, and being able to see flat land for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles in all directions, but never able to make that transition into saying, why do I believe this is a ball? Plate tectonics always bothered me. I didn't understand how plates could fit around a ball, but once again, I could never make that step. From there, I've just been researching the subject, trying to understand every last bit of it. I like to say that I could play the ball boys just as well as they can, and I can play the jester as well, and I have what I think is a pretty good understanding of the whole debate altogether. So I really appreciate you guys having me on today to just allow me to get some of the things out. Like I told you guys earlier, I consider myself the greatest philosopher of the age of Pisces, and I don't give myself credit for any of this. Like I say, this was all given to me. It was asked of me to do this, and I think everything happens for a reason. I think we were going to have this conversation every single time the Earth was made. Other than that, whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm up for. I do still enjoy this debate, although it has been terrible. I've lost all the love I ever had, family, my friends, my lover, and I'm still going to keep fighting for it. So wherever you guys want to go with this, I'm open for it.
All right. Well, you had me at playing with balls, I guess. So, John, I'm going to let this kind of turn over to you, and you can kind of steer this ball playing a little bit if you don't mind.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, sure. Why not?
I love I love the irony of my opponent's name today, Team Skeptic. One, he's just one guy, and two, if he's a skeptic, his position is I have to believe everything I'm told. So I think it's pretty ironical. Thank you.
You have a very skewed view of what the word skeptic means. Skeptic means I'm just skeptical of claims that are just made by people that have no empirical evidence to back them. That does not mean that I am to automatically go against what the consensus is of the scientific consensus, because let's say tomorrow everybody comes out and says it's flat. At that point, am I supposed to, argue against the globe, or change my position because the consensus then says it's flat? That's not my obligation. I just stand behind empirical evidence. That's my complete position. Empirical evidence and predictive models. That's all I stand behind.
Fair enough.
Right.
Okay.
So, just before we go into this debate, it's going to be more of a discussion than a debate. And the only role that I or Steve has here is to try to control the chaos, I guess. So let's try not to talk over each other, let each other make a point. Let's try not to straw man another person's point or whatnot, or anything like that, because that doesn't help in conversation. So I don't know, since Flat... I forget which Flatman. Since Flatman has kind of stated his position, Team Skeptic, do you want to start off by addressing anything that he said?
Yes. Well,
can I just have one quick rule that I can throw in there?
Sorry,
Throughout
Steve.
this entire episode, you cannot say Occam's razor or epistemology. Is that fair? Everybody agree?
I agree.
Fair enough.
Sweet. Let's do it.
But I can't even talk about my epistemology though.
You fucked it up already, dude. Okay.
You're pissing me off.
I'll try not to. Okay, so Flatman, let me ask you first. You did say you're a conspiracy guy. And that's totally fine that you're a conspiracy guy. I think that people who are flat earthers also tend to be conspiracy nuts. So I'll go ahead and just throw you in that batch and not try to use it as like a degradation or anything like that. Just I'll say that's your state of mind. You're automatically looking for the conspiracy. What would it take for me to convince you that the earth is not flat?
I've been saying it since I became a flat earther. I've been asking people, please just offer me the experiment or the observation I can do that can demonstrate the curvature of the earth or its movement. And from then I've come up with my 4 horsemen are one, prove to me that Polaris is moving off of its axis of rotation. Prove stellar aberration of any kind. Prove curvature. Prove movement. Those 4 things I think would definitely help me get back on the ball.
Okay. Well,
so far none forthcoming.
Proving the rotation has already been done. It's done with Foucault's pendulum. It's done with ring laser gyros. It's been done many times. And yes, there's always a pseudo explanation as to why this occurs, whether it's the ether that's moving or something else that's fantastical that's causing these experiments to show us rotation instead of it just being because there's actual rotation. So the rotation part, those things are already done scientifically. I can give you an observation though, okay? We're going to talk about an observation. I actually have some graphics ready to go. Hey, Dave, do you still have access to the graphics from last week's show? I don't know if Dave is still there. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second. All right, so what I was going to talk about is the equinox sunrise. Are you familiar with the equinox sunrise and the problem it provides to the flat Earth model, to anything flat?
The problem, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, to me, it poses a little problem with the globe as well. But go ahead.
No. And once we get Dave around here, he has some graphics that he'll be pulling up for me that I prepared for last week's show. Now, from the perspective of someone on Earth, let's say you are standing on the equator, okay? The sun will rise due east from you. Now, there is no flat Earth map that has the sun that begins due east from any point on the Earth except for the North Pole. And it just so happens to be the only place on Earth that you will not see the sunrise due east. Do you understand those observations?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You say
So,
from the North Pole will not appear to be over the equator on the equinox?
no, at the North Pole, during the equinox, the sun appears to traverse the horizon. So there is
Okay.
no sunrise, there is no sunset. It literally just traverses the horizon. Now, but at the equator, though, you see the sun rise due east. In fact, everybody on Earth on the equinox sees the sun rise due east. This will present a problem. We'll get to that problem in a minute. We're going to start by talking about just observations that can be made at the equator and the equator alone, okay? Just so we can go step by step. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that on the equator during the equinox, the sun makes a very specific line in the sky. It starts due east, it goes directly overhead in a straight line, and then has a straight line traversal to due west at sunset. Okay, this means that to an observer standing on the flat Earth or on any Earth at the equator, will see the sun make a straight line over their head. Okay, no flat Earth has the sun traveling in a straight line at any point. This would be an observation that would be made approximately at about 45 degrees north of, north of due east, and then it would come over your head, and then as it went to sunset, it would set approximately 45 degrees north of due west.
Okay.
These observations don't match reality. Anybody on the equator will see the sun go directly overhead. How do you resolve that with a flat Earth map or model?
Well, let's talk a minute about the balls version of this story. Jaron has pointed out before about how Google Maps has 90 east and 270 west, not as a straight line from any one point, but rather making beelines directly for the equator, right? You guys have seen that argument?
No, I don't really follow what that idiot talks about. He's not very intelligent.
Well, I disagree with you. I think he is very intelligent. But if you go onto Google Maps right now, you need the good version, the computer version or whatever, and you draw yourself a 90 east line from, say, New York, it's going to take a beeline to the equator, and it's going to end up going under Australia. And then if you draw 270 west, it's not going to be a straight line with the 90 east. It's going to go the opposite way, take a beeline towards the equator. Right. And now when I ask people on the flat Earth experts, you know, what is 90 east? What is 270 west? The best they can come up with is it is a latitude line. They say it is a latitude line. Well, if it is a latitude line, then why are we all seeing the sun set at 270 west and rising at 290 east?
Because in a sphere, you're dealing with a three-dimensional object, not a two-dimensional object. So while it does curve, while the line is curved, the line of latitude curves around the sphere, that curve is in the z-axis, not the x or the y. So to any person standing there looking in a two-dimensional way, you know, left, right, forward, back, the straight line will be straight to them, but it will walk around the sphere. But it will be in a straight line. It will have one starting point, and when it gets all the way around, it will finish at the exact same starting point without any movement up or down, you know, any movement left or right based on, you know, 90 east or 270 west. Now, the reason why they draw this out, the reason why these look like that on the paper, let's say you were to take the globe model and you were to put it on a two-dimensional paper, well, you can't draw a line for due east. Due east will be a circle. So that's what I'm saying. Like in reality, we see due east as a line that goes around a sphere that curves, you know, on the z-axis and not the x or the y only.
Right.
That's why it does not present a problem with us when we see it all at due east. Even people in South America sees the sunrise due east on the equinox.
Now, so are they looking towards the equator, or are they looking along their latitude line?
They're looking along their latitude lines, parallel to the equator, which presents a problem for anything that's flat. Any model of the Earth that has a flat surface is going to have this exact same problem.
So the idea is that the sun has been above the ecliptic plane, or above the ecliptic plane the whole time, and then on the equinox, it's passing directly through the center of the Earth's
right, celestial equator,
celestial plane, right? And because it's so big and so far away, it appears to rise and set at 90 and 270, right?
Yes. Now, the second observation that anybody can make on the Earth, and this right here would lead to evidence that would lead to prove to say that the Earth is a sphere. Okay, when you go into the south, let's say you go 23.6 degrees. These are the Tropic of Cancer. I think it's 23.6 degrees is Tropic of Cancer in the north, and 23.6 degrees is Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn in the south. Okay, so when you look at solar noon, and solar noon is described as the point on Earth when the line of longitude that has the sun directly over the equator. Okay, so the subsolar point is what it's called. So let's say at solar noon on the 101st longitude, everybody along the 101st longitude will also be experiencing solar noon. Okay, so at this point, let's say you're at the two different points on each of the tropics, and you look up into the sky to see where the sun is, you'll notice that the sun will be located directly at your latitude, like off of your zenith by your latitude. So if you're at 23.6 degrees, then you'd be looking up at about 66.4 degrees.
Okay.
And that's where you'd find the sun. Now this would go all the way down. So if you went to the 45th latitude on either side, you would find the sun at 45 degrees. If you went to the 80th latitude, you would find the sun at 10 degrees. And this is the same whether you go north or south.
Okay.
And then when the sun sets, every person along that same line of longitude would also turn around and see the sun set due west, which anybody in the southern hemisphere would see it setting actually north of due west. Pretty much anybody on Earth would be seeing it set north of due west, again, except at the pole. That would be the only place you would see it set due west. But on the globe model, nobody sees it set on that day because it's traversing the horizon.
Okay. That's a lot for me to visualize without seeing anything.
Yeah,
but
if the producer comes back, I do have graphics that will help you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, you have graphics?
Okay.
I'm here.
Hey, Dave. Yeah, do you have access to my files from last week, to that folder still?
I think so. I think I can arrange that.
Okay, can you? Excuse me. If you'll pull up, I'll tell you what pictures to pull up real quick, because I already have them labeled over here. Okay, so we'll go to pick number 9, please.
Okay.
And I will say that this is not addressing any of my horsemen, by the way.
Okay, this is addressing the shape of the Earth. Yeah, sure. I don't know the pictures. I just know the numbers that I need. So yeah. So this right here is this is explaining the equinox. Okay, this is explaining what is going on in the equinox. Now I'm going to tell you the reason why everybody sees this due east. Okay, and this is one of the arguments against the flat Earth, because in a flat Earth model, the sun is very small. Okay, so this right here shows you how everybody is able to see this due east. Okay, do you understand what's going on? The sun is so big that anybody looking due east is going to see the sun in the exact same spot as everybody else along that terminator line.
Right. I mean, you couldn't possibly make an actual model of it that would fit on one slide. And this is the big problem, I think, with your model in general, is just that there's just no possible way to visualize it. Yes, that sun looks east to everybody in this drawing.
One of the pictures in here is actually this model. So give me one moment and we'll show that. Now go to pick number 10. And again, this is only showing how the relative distance, when you remove relative distance, this is actually what you're seeing. Now, when I modeled this out, I then took the distance from the Earth to the sun and reduced it so that you could see exactly why everybody sees the sun at, due east and due west for the sunrise and sunset. Okay, do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, now can we go to pick number 11? Okay, so this is discussing why you see the solar noon observation. Okay, so during the solar noon, this sun over here is actually above this point on the equator, above that middle red line on the equator. Okay, so now as you go up in elevation, as you go up on the sphere and you travel to higher level or lines of longitude or latitude, your zenith angle starts pointing away from where the sun is. So then you have to adjust your zenith angle by your latitude so that you can see the sun. Okay, so you can see the sun directly or where it's at in the sky. All right, and this is the same going to the north and to the south. All right.
Okay.
So now go to pick number 12. Okay, so this is the actual model right here that you're looking for. Now, all these, I took a lot of pictures from the model. Of course, that one model was having the Earth actually reduced in distance so that you could see it next to each other, but these are all still the same size in the model. Now, this is what we were talking about earlier. The equinox is actually when that celestial equator crosses the ecliptic, okay? And it happens twice a year. All right, so let's go next pick 13. All right, so this, excuse me, this is a short little video right here. I think, is it playing as a video?
No.
Okay, well, let's see, is that one vid 13 or pick 14? EQT vid?
I can pull it in as a vid, hold on.
Okay, so what we're about to see is how the sun traverses to three different people at the same time. Okay, we're going to look at the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and across the equator. Now you'll notice on the equator, you'll see that the sun will make a straight line, and on the Tropic of Cancer, the sun will it'll kind of loop around the center. It'll go from the same starting point on all three pictures, the same finishing point on all three pictures, but the sun will dip down on one to the center, basically to the celestial equator. The sun it'll appear that it dips down below it, and the other one it'll appear that it goes over it. And these are showing the sun's traversal from different points of view to see that you're actually seeing, you're observing the curvature indirectly right here of the shape of the Earth. Do you see how it's? Are you understanding the picture or the vid?
Yeah, I see what you're going with here.
Okay, so this is actually showing you from each of these observers, they're having to adjust. If they were to follow that sun, each observer would have to adjust just slightly throughout the day to follow the sun because of the curvature of the Earth. And there's no flat Earth model that can accurately describe this event.
Okay.
Okay, now go to pick number 14, please. Okay, I think this pick number 14 is where we're at. And I was just basically showing, this is the solar noon observation, okay? So as you can see on the top left picture, the solar noon observation has the sun directly overhead, all right? And in each of the pictures, you'll see the green circle is the one that's directly overhead, all right? Now in the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, you'll see that the observation has to be tilted slightly based on their line of latitude. All right, next picture. Okay, so I have to actually look at my notes to see what calculations I made here. All right, okay, so yeah, this is basically showing that showing that we're calculating now from the distance, getting the lateral distance between the 2 points at from the equator to the tropics of 23.5 degrees. We're dividing that by 360. And then we're multiplying that by 2611 so we can get the approximate size of the circumference of the Earth. Okay. And this is because we're at the equator at this point. And that's 39,998 basically 3 kilometers, which the scientific consensus has us at 40,075. So just using what we know to be the land distance between the tropics and the equator, okay, and then taking that, using our observations to understand that we're at a 23.5 degree latitude, so we know we're 23.5 degrees off of the equator. We then get what portion of the total circumference that we have, and then we can use that to find out what the total circumference is. And it's fairly close to the scientific consensus. All right, I guess this, and go to one more pick on there, pick number 17. All right, excuse me. And then this last picture, let me get to, oh, I guess that one's not it, but it's okay. That was in case he pulled up the continents being different size. Okay, yeah, this picture right here. This is a picture that shows how, again, all observers see the sun setting at due west, and that's marked by the red W. This is just to confirm that these are what not just what the model predicts, but, and all these are being generated through stellarium, but stellarium's accurate. Anybody can use stellarium to go outside and see where stars are accurately, and this is regardless of whether the Earth is flat or round. You can use this to accurately, pinpoint where either a star or the sun or the moon is in the sky at any point in time.
Mm.
Okay, so now, what do you have to say about that?
Well, just because there is no flat Earth consensus on how this happens, a model that defines it as it's this, doesn't mean the Earth is a ball.
No, it doesn't.
The assumption that the Earth is a ball has helped to create the math that explains these things, but it doesn't mean it's actually happening. If the Earth can be shown to be no curvature, then obviously this is wrong. So, like I said, that does not really address my 4 horsemen.
Well, yes, because if you do the same math using a flat Earth, you'll come up with varying distances of the height of the sun.
And Team Skeptic, if I can ask real quick, where did you have the assumption that the Earth was round in any of this? Because I didn't see that as an assumption. I saw it as a conclusion.
It was a conclusion. It was a conclusion based on.
Okay, because I want to make sure I didn't miss the prerequisite assumptions there. I didn't see anything assumption like in that presentation.
The first conclusion I came up with was that the Earth is 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional at its surface. And the second conclusion that I came up with is that it's a sphere with the second conclusion that I came up with is that it's a sphere with a radius of 39,900 plus kilometers.
And then how did you know about the size of the sun?
I didn't have to. Just the simple observation that everybody sees it due east means that it's larger than the Earth. If it was not larger than the Earth, then we would all have to adjust based on our line of latitude that we were on. We'd have to adjust to pinpoint where in the sky the sun was. The fact that it's bigger than the Earth means that everybody looking east will be staring into some point of that sun, no matter how far away it is.
Well, if
Simon,
the sun is small,
see that though? Can you conceptually see that it has to be much larger for everybody to be able to see it in the same part of the sky, especially when it's going, sunset, as he demonstrated.
That's the going theory.
No, that's not a theory. That's a fact of life. That it has to be bigger.
That's observational reality. They've been saying this since before the Bible was around. They've been making this observation in ancient civilizations.
Okay, yes, and they've also observed Polaris not moving off of its axis. So,
well, we haven't had enough time really to observe that, but
It should move a degree off of rotation every 70 years, shouldn't it?
I mean, like I'm talking about we haven't had the astronomical data to go back thousands of years to 5,000-6,000 years ago, where they could say, "Oh, Polaris was actually here." And I mean, they do actually have that data, and I believe it's the Greeks that have actually made the older, more accurate star charts. But most ancient civilizations could use the North Star where it was at during their time to make to find an accurate representation of where magnetic north was.
Well, I mean, if you set up a telescope right now,
Or geographic north, I think it is.
If you set up a telescope right now and it's pointing directly at Polaris, it's going to be pointing directly at Polaris the next night. Tell me, how many nights will it take where it won't be there anymore?
17,000 years worth.
Yeah, it's like 26,000 years, by the way, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's like 26,000 years to go a full
years for it to go completely around. So it should be a degree off of its rotation every 70 years. That's a human lifetime.
Modern astronomy has proven this. They have the equipment that's accurate enough to measure the differences in the position of Polaris nightly. This isn't a problem for us. It's very accurate.
Well, is there a record of this? Is there a record of these? Is there records of these observations, or is there just some numbers to describe what?
No, I mean, I'm sure you'd have to go on there and look at it, but they've been measuring the rate of rotation, the rate of not rotation, but of the wobble of the Earth for a while. Precession, yes, precession.
Yet, Polaris will be in the same spot in the sky tonight and tomorrow, and
yeah, but not 13,000 years from now. 13,000 years from now will be an exact opposite side of the North Pole.
Exactly. So it's got to start moving there soon, because they say it's been there for 2,000 years.
13,000 years from now, it'll be in a completely different place, but you and I won't be here. So we could talk about
got there
right now.
2,000 divided by 70 is 30 degrees. It should be 30 degrees off of the polar spot, and it's just not.
How are you coming up with this math? 2,000 divided by 70?
Divided by 360.
30 degrees?
Yeah. 26,000. The cycle is 26,000 years, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, you guys do it all in degrees. Our circle is 360 degrees.
If I remember correctly, it's about half that to get to Vega. At one point, like 12,000 years from now, Vega is going to be where Polaris is. And then after another 14,000, something like that, then Vega will no longer be in that position and Polaris will back where it started because of the precession of the Earth, because it has a tilt and wobble. So if you waited 12,000 years, then you can actually demonstrate that Vega will be the North Star, if I remember correctly. All the people in the live chat probably know this exceptionally well, so they can validate that if I'm right or wrong.
So what is your best proof for the flat Earth, your best evidence that you would like to present? Because I'd like to address those.
Okay, I mean, there was a video put up the other day that was 13.2 something miles. Someone took a mirror, put it on the ground, and reflected the sun's light and signaled a camera 3 feet off the ground, 13 miles away. So
let me ask you, in this experiment that you guys did or that you saw, was there any control points taken so that you could get an accurate refractive index?
No, but 160. It jumped. The light that was pointing straight over to the other side jumped up over a curve.
Let me make a few assumptions and guesses here, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Was it taken on a cold day over water?
I don't know the temperature.
Did it look like it was cold done over water?
I mean, I guess we have to allow you guys unlimited refraction if that's what you need.
No. Okay, so here's how things work in the surveying world, right? When they go to make a measurement, there's other measurements they make than just the one measurement they want to take. They make measurements on control points. These are points that have been measured. The distances have been measured. the height that's been measured. And what they can do is they can take the readings of what the readings are on that day versus what the reading should be, and they can build an accurate refractive index. Okay. And once they have an accurate refractive index, they can then see how far light should travel, what it should say, what kind of drop should be expected. When you just take a measurement and you don't use any control points, you're not really proving anything except that under those conditions that you did under that experiment, you were able to achieve this result, and it means nothing.
Well, it means nothing to you because you will automatically go towards refraction.
Well,
either
they could
it's
do it
jumping,
every day.
either the light jumping up over 100.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's right.
No, go ahead.
I mean, how much curve is there at 13 miles?
I don't know. Off the
Let's see,
top of
were
my
you
head.
at sea level?
146 feet or something like that, right?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I could do the math real quick if you want me to, but I mean, obviously you prepared this. What is it? What is it supposed to be? Are you using inches per mile squared, or are you actually using the calculations for a sphere and not a parabola?
I use whatever you guys want me to.
No. I'm asking you. I'm not suggesting. I'm asking. So, are you using when you come up with your numbers 8 inches per mile squared? So you're not even plotting out a sphere. When you plot that out, that doesn't make a circle. So you're actually using incorrect information to form your belief system.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Okay, the Earth has they say the Earth has a circumference of, what is it, 24,901 miles, something like that.
40,000 kilometers.
I'm just gonna call it 24,900 miles. Okay, I wrote this all down and I forgot my stuff, but okay. So in 1 degree, there's 69.127 miles, correct? Something along those lines.
We'll call it 69 for the audience's sake.
Okay, 69. In 69 miles, if you're using the 8 inches per mile squared, there's a shitload of curvature. Okay, and then if you take an average for how much drop there should be per mile in those 69 miles, you come up to 46 feet. Okay. Tell me where on the Earth I can find a mile that has 46 feet of drop. Okay, and that's just for the degree average.
Hold on. You think there's 46, it's supposed to be 46 feet of drop per mile?
Well, no, actually, because if you do the whole ball or half the ball, okay, because directly below me, polar opposite to me, if I'm on a ball, is 8,000 miles below me, right? Or somewhere around that. Okay? And it's going to take me 12,000 miles to get to that spot, right?
Do you mean to go like around the outside of the circumference? 12,500, well, I guess according to your numbers, 12,450. Yeah,
something along those lines. So that means that there was a mile of drop for every 1.57 miles traversed.
How are you coming up with these numbers? Like I want to see your numbers, because I'm not quite understanding what you're saying. You're saying there's a consistent drop of 1.157 inches per mile. Is that correct?
No. I'm saying by the numbers of the ball. Okay, now believe me, so I think the ball is absurd. It is an absurd idea. Okay, so you have to take that into account. If I'm going to go to the complete opposite side of the ball, I would now be 8,000 miles below where I started, correct?
Yes. Approximately, yes.
Okay, approximately. And it took me 12,500 miles traversed to get there. Right?
Okay. Are you trying to draw this out like a triangle, or are you trying to make this loop like a ball? Like, are you accounting for 180 degrees, or? I'm confused as to how you're coming up with your calculation, though. I can understand you're reading off these numbers and you're putting them together, but I don't think you're calculating for the surface of a sphere, the contour of the sphere.
Well,
At
well
least
I
you're
don't
not
understand what the
representing
difference.
you're not representing the globe Earth model correctly. Even if you're trying to, you're not doing it correctly for some reason. Without
Well,
seeing your math.
no one has been able to explain why I'm off. They say, okay, yeah, I'm using a linear average, or okay, that's fine. I understand that, and it's not just slope; it's a curved surface. But you still have to get 8,000 miles below yourself, right?
Uh-huh.
And you have to do it in a traverse of 12,500 miles. That means you had to have gone a mile below yourself every 1.5 miles. You traversed.
Hold on. Okay, so wait. Let me interject here.
Okay. Yeah.
Flatman, what is the purpose of you bringing this up? Because I don't understand the connection here. Could you help us get to?
I get it now. I get it, and I see where his fundamental disconnect is. Okay, so here's what you're doing. You're writing an average linear drop rate. Okay, so what you're doing is you're not accounting for basically trigonometry. When you begin, as you move degrees off of your zenith, we'll say your zenith is directly north, where your starting point is. Okay, as you walk around the sphere, you're not moving along the y-axis at the same rate that you're moving along the x-axis. You're actually moving along the y-axis, and you'll have to forgive me, like I'm trying to explain this with my hands and nobody can see it, but you're moving along one axis to begin with at a much slower rate until you get to about 45 degrees, at which you start moving at the other axis at a slower rate. So while you can take it and say, I can average this out over a linear amount, that's only in relation to your starting point. Okay, that's not in relation to what you're at each individual point along the sphere, because you're actually starting every time you move, you're at a new point on the sphere. So you're actually going to be dropping 8 inches per mile in all directions from that point. Now, if you want to take them over time, then you have to consider the second 8 inches takes into account the first 8 inches of drop, and the third 8 inches takes into account the first and the second 8 inches of drop. So, and that's why it builds up, and it builds up at a rate. I can't even think of the name. An exponential rate. When you can't just say, oh, it's 8 inches per. It's an 8 inch drop over the first mile. Oh, 20 miles, there must be 16 inches, or there must be 160 inches of drop. That's not how it works, because it's not a flat plane that's going out, that's declined, that's at a declination or an inclination, depending on which way you're looking. It's an actual sphere that's falling away in every direction that you look.
Okay, so if I was standing on the sphere and you were a mile away from me, how much below my feet would your feet be? If there was an imaginary horizontal plane below my feet, how much lower would your feet be than my feet?
Roughly about 8 inches. If you're looking at it on a Cartesian graph, on a two-dimensional graph, and you plotted, like you split the Earth in half and you put you at the top and you moved me over 1 mile based on a 25,000 mile circumference, I would have dropped about 8 inches along that axis.
Okay, now if there was another person a mile from you, how much lower would that person be than your horizontal plane?
8 inches. If you moved me to the top of that sphere, then you would be 8 inches below me, and he would be 8 inches below me as well.
And how much below me would he be?
Roughly 32 inches below you, roughly. But that's because you're starting. Yes.
You dropped, and then he dropped 8 inches below you, but somehow that ended up being 32 inches below me. So this is what I'm talking about. The absurdity.
You have to take my drop. Well, yeah, because you're not thinking of it as a three-dimensional ball. You're thinking of it as a two-dimensional declination. You're thinking of it as 8 inches and then 8 more inches. That's not how it works. It's a ball that begins to change its rate of movement along each axis with every new degree of latitude you travel along the outside of that ball. So when that guy's 8 inches below me, he's 8 inches below me as if I'm at the top of the ball. not as if I'm 1 mile away from you, because then he's still only 8 inches below me, but to you, he's 8 inches on the 8 inches. So that's why it's squared, because it's an actual circle. And it's not even the actual equation for that. There's a different equation for that. The 8 inches per mile squared is just a rough estimation of short distances.
Okay, now are there miles on the curve more or less than other miles?
No, not well. Depends on what curving away from what.
See, I mean, this is it's such an absurd idea that it's impossible to even argue against.
You said you were pretty smart, and I agree. You seem to have some intelligence to you. So I'm asking you, what's your fundamental disconnect in seeing what I'm saying? Well, not understanding that it's not 8 inches per mile, but there's a reason why it's per mile squared. Right.
Well, I've never been able to really get an answer that satisfied me on this idea. Because if you're 8 inches below me, if your feet are 8 inches below me, and the next guy is 8 inches below you, how is that guy 32 inches below me?
Because
it just doesn't make any sense.
Because when he's 8 inches below me when I'm in your position on the graph. He's not 8 inches below me if we take it from your position on, like if I'm not in your position on the graph. If I'm on your position on the ball, then he's going to be 24 inches below me. But it's still, if you rotate us up and you put me at the top of the ball, when you do the math, then you'll be only 8 inches below me because I'm at the top of the ball. I'm no longer 1 mile off the top.
Well, we're all always on the top of the ball, aren't we? Isn't everyone below us?
To your perspective. I think I figured out what's going on here.
Okay.
He's not realizing that the definition of horizontal here. If you're talking horizontal as in bisects the equator, it's an arc. So it starts out and slopes a little bit and then it goes faster and faster and faster as the spear progresses because it's turning more towards the vertical.
Okay,
at that frame of reference, right? If you're bisecting it and that's your frame of reference, the equator, the elliptic, whatever you want to call it, you're bisecting the Earth, and now that's your horizontal. But that's not how this calculation works. The horizontal is you standing at your point at wherever you are on the Earth, doesn't matter at all, and you're looking out and you're tangent. So that's what Team Skeptic is saying. If he's standing at 45 degrees north of the equator, then that horizontal plane is going to be a 45-degree angle with respect to the equator.
I'm not interested in equators or poles or anything about this. I'm just talking about any spot on the ball. I mean, it's supposed to curve away from you the same
but you have to,
amount.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to say. You have to assign a point that is the curving away from point. Okay, so if you just say you're at the top of the ball and I'm 1 mile away, and I should see the same curvature away from me that you see away from me. Well, that's incorrect because you're not taking into account the curvature that you're experiencing looking at me. See, when you see the curvature away from me, you're seeing it with my curvature added to that, and that's why it starts to bend at a greater and greater and greater rate. It starts off slow. Starts off just 8 inches, and then it begins to bend greater and greater and greater down.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me that's absurd, and could never be demonstrated. Obviously.
Okay,
and
the
whole idea is like,
back to the original.
What's the average amount of drop per mile? Can you do such a thing?
Go ahead, G. We'll just move on. So
yeah, well, I was just gonna say, can we kind of get back to the original proof? Because I mean, we kind of went off on a tangent a little bit here with this curve thing. The original thing was that somebody could see a light from 13 miles away or something, and apparently it shouldn't be that. I know Team Skeptic was asking about the refraction index and whatever. Is there anything else, like, other than that supposed thing, like that particular test? Because I mean, Jeranism's already disproven like that whole thing with his light test, where he actually showed that there is an actual curve. Could you pick a different proof, like your second best proof, because this is literally getting us nowhere?
Well, okay. I mean, the curvature. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of curvature tests of a flat Earth. You know, the ball doesn't match. You guys can say refraction, all right, is lifting the thing up and pushing it over.
What else?
That's fine.
Other than sight distances, what else do you have? Because the sight distances, I've already said, without control points, there's no way to validate what you're seeing is not expected on the globe Earth model. You show me a control point, a controlled experiment that disproves the sphericity of the Earth, then I'll listen then. But until then, you need to have that. That's just me. That's anecdotal as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, for me it works, but this is what I would like to do. Okay, I've been trying to get this together, but it's very expensive. Is I want to get helicopters. I've talked to a company called Atomic Helicopters here in Seattle, and all I want them to do is to be able to fly 15 miles over the Puget Sound, and I'm going to be at a place called Discovery Park, and to me, if you can see I'm going to ask them to go down towards the water, 10 feet from the water. If you can see the helicopter with your camera from 3 feet, obviously the water is not curving.
This experiment's already been done, and flat earthers deny that as well.
Yeah,
well,
I got
yes,
a question.
I
got a question because I've seen this experiment done numerous times. It's repeated numerous times, and they've done it with lasers. They've done it with helicopters. Every single time they just say, you know, they find some excuse, whatever. Why do you think that you need to see it with your own eyes as compared to other flat earthers? Because if you see it with your own eyes, aren't you going to just find a way to deny it? I mean, I don't think that you're actually looking for that as an experiment, because this experiment's been done countless times. I've seen it. I know they have. Everybody in the audience has. It's there.
Okay,
They
first of all, it's been
can't
done.
see the helicopter. They literally cannot see the helicopter until it rises up exactly how much they predict. And once it rises up, sure enough, you can see the helicopter sitting right on top of the horizon.
Okay, it was done one time by Discovery Channel. It's already been shown that there's very deceptive editing going on in that. And the fact that you guys even can, that's your one curvature test in your favor, and then you got Kozlowski's.
We have Jeranism. We have Jeranism's curvature test. I appreciate him, but we now have two. So you got that one and Jeranism and Stephen Hawking's boat test that you're not going to take into account. You also have, let's see. Yeah, you said Jesse Kozlowski. He's proved curvature, I don't know, every day of his life that he goes to work.
Yeah, I'd love to see someone take out the theodolite and then do it, and just have the crosshairs there.
They've done it with the theodolite as well, and George Nuchek has done it with the theodolite as well.
So what else do you have other than sight distances? Because you're not getting anywhere with sight distances.
Well, let me ask you: Has there ever been a test of the horizon? You know, the ball. You guys say that the horizon is the last part of the ball you can see based on your tangential seeing around a 24,900 mile ball.
Yes.
Has anyone ever tested whether that's true? Has anyone ever gone out and said, okay, this horizon is 3.5 miles?
I will point you out to Flat Earther Ranty, who goes out with his P1000 to prove the Earth is flat every fucking day of his life and continuously shows things going over the horizon. He is the best. There you go. You can have Ranty as well as another globe Earth proof.
Well, yes. Okay. Things become obscured after the horizon. Okay.
For what reason?
Have you ever seen the Skunk Bay video?
No, but I'm sure you're going to show me sight distances again of things that we're not supposed to be able to see that we can.
No. The Skunk Bay time lapse. Please watch it because it's pretty revealing.
Oh, is that the refraction one? Is that the one where the different times of day it shows the different amount of refraction?
Yeah, I mean, three-story buildings are being hidden by water that is below the camera.
And again, when I say that you're supposed to, anytime you want to use a sight distance, you need to use stuff like control points. This is the reason why, because you can have such a variation over just dependent upon time of day that you take your measurement. It can vary so much, and you have to have points that you know exactly where they're at and exactly where they appear to be, so you can build your refractive index. And by building that refractive index, you will come to the same conclusion every time, that there is a drop in the curvature of the Earth that is completely consistent with the scientific consensus of 40,000 kilometers circumference.
Well, why don't you guys have to do that?
I'm not a surveyor.
I mean, no one has ever measured the curvature of the Earth. I can't go onto Google right now and ask.
Jesse Kozlowski, Jeranism, Stephen Hawking, Discovery Channel, everything
A lot
you
of
just
people.
said was a measuring curvature.
Well, and I mean, the curvature has been measured since Eratosthenes. I can't pronounce his name well. I mean, it's been
We've known about it for a while.
Yeah, I know.
It's not new news,
Okay,
my friend.
here's the thing about that. Okay, Eratosthenes was able to triangulate the sun only if he assumed the Earth being curved, right?
No,
No.
not at all. Not at
He
all.
used
There's
angles of shadows.
Yes.
Right.
Well, the measurements worked out. If
he came up
if
with
the curved
he
Earth.
came up with the assertion that the Earth was curved because, and well, they'd already known because they could see things going over the horizon. They'd already started to generalize the shape of the Earth, but the evidence that he got concluded came to the conclusion that his belief was right, that the Earth was not just spherical, but now he had the measurements to say we can use this trigonometry to determine the exact size, and he was pretty damn close.
Right. And did he know about refraction?
Refraction doesn't play a role
There's
in that
nothing to do with
observation.
refraction there at all. I mean, what can I ask? What do you personally think refraction means?
Is exactly where you think it is? It's exactly where you see it?
Well, hang on. What do you personally think refraction means, so we can kind of clarify that? Because maybe you're not using it the way I'm used to it, the way like everybody else uses it. What does refraction mean to you?
The angle of light will change when moving through a different density of atmosphere.
Okay. So good. I think it's the first letter to maybe get that right.
You will see something. Last angle at which it comes in at.
Okay, so you have a gradient, right, in the atmosphere. So you have like atmospheric ducting where you have this refractive gradient, refractive index, and so you can get certain types of atmospheric ducting at certain times of the year, at certain conditions, to see certain things that are further away. Would you not agree that if the refraction didn't happen because of that, you wouldn't be able to see it, because you would be able to see it at all times of the year? So clearly there's something in play allowing you to see certain things that you normally wouldn't see because of refraction. And yes, you are using it correctly. Thank you. But that just actually demonstrates that the Earth is not flat, because if it was, you wouldn't need refraction. You would be able to see it 365 days a year. So,
well,
right?
if the surface is also being refracted, then its light will come in at an angle that is the same as the bottoms of something that's beyond the horizon. And your optical measurement will resolve the first thing that hits it.
But this is why he took his measurement at solar noon. He did not take his measurements at sunrise or sunset. He took it at solar noon when refraction.
You can only do that from one spot. You can only do that from one spot. You can't do that from every spot.
No. Solar noon is a representation of when the sun is along a certain line of longitude. It has nothing to do with where on Earth solar noon is happening. It's an actual line of longitude that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole.
Okay, but according to what you guys say about Eratosthenes is there was a well in whatever, and at a certain point when the sun was directly overhead, there was no shadow in the well. The sun went directly to the bottom of the well, and he could see the reflection of the sun in the bottom. So that means that the sun was directly over his head, but in wherever the fuck the other place was, 500 miles away or whatever, the sun couldn't possibly have been over the person's head.
It's like 60 miles away, I think. I don't think it was that long. Well, how long? How many miles was it? If anybody knows it. Oh, no, it wasn't that long. Anyway, no, it's not. If you use trigonometry, you'll notice that the math will not add up if the Earth's surface is flat. Okay, first off, we have to assume that the Earth. Are you agreeing that the sun is at least larger than the Earth? Yes, based on the equinox observations.
No, I won't agree to that.
Then okay, well, then you're going to have a hard time understanding it how the lines of light come in parallel to the Earth.
Well,
if it's small and local, then trigonometry really upsets your model.
Can you show us how that would work if it's small and local? I mean, I'm curious. How would that work? If it's small and local, let's say, I don't know, pick a number, 33,000 miles away or something like that. Even if the Earth is flat, it's still a pretty decent sized Earth. So how would people at different latitudes see the sun at the same position in the sky unless it was far away rather than localized? How would that happen?
Here's the thing is that the sun is going to move with you as you move. It is within your own atmospheric dome, as Jaron calls.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say
what?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't. Oh my God. Let me get my bell ready. Ryan,
okay, wait a minute. Wait, I'm getting ready for this. Can you please repeat this? Hang on, I'm gonna get ready for this.
Instead of actually seeing half the universe as you guys think, you see
oh my God.
your eyes' ability to resolve the world outside of you, okay? And it just so happens to fit itself into a dome because your eyelid, what's the back part of your eye called? The light shines on your eye.
The retina.
The retina.
No, the back part of the retina. The iris is in the front.
All right, let me define the horizon.
You do not have an atmospheric dome that is around you that is separate from an atmospheric dome that's around Steve and Godless Engineer and myself. We are surrounded
I do have everything revolves around me. We already know that for a fact. I'm gonna go with that. The universe revolves around me. So if I existed, yeah.
Wow. Absolutely, you have your own individualized perspective that you cannot separate any observation from, and it's astounding that people try to. To me, let me define the horizon for you.
Sixth in your class, was it like a liberal arts high school?
No, it was a Catholic high school with a bunch of overachievers, and I still finished sixth without taking a book home because I'm a fucking genius. Listen,
sixth is genius. So what is the top five then?
Overachievers. They were overachievers. Listen, I got a 34 on my ACT without ever opening a book, without ever taking a practice test, without doing anything. All right,
being able to recite information and understanding the information are two different things. You clearly do not understand the basic problem that exists with everybody seeing the sunrise in the east on the equinox. Okay, this is a fundamental problem for you guys. Okay, now I want you to think of something. Okay, conceptually, imagine the flat Earth map. Okay, now draw a line from the North Pole to the south of Argentina. Okay. Now, where that line ends in the south of Argentina on the equinox, no matter how far away from the North Pole you get, you're going to look east. You're going to look along that straight line. And we're not looking along a curved line. We're not making calculations as to where east is actually going to be. No, they're going to look 90 degrees away from due north. And that sun will 100% rise there. How do you explain that on a flat Earth?
This is how I explain it. God put up the cross, and he sacrificed man, the Pisces. one of the things he sacrificed was the cardinal directions. We do not understand the cardinal directions. And
flat earthers do
it's
not
not going to go
understand cardinal directions. You're absolutely
we don't
right.
understand the cardinal directions. Hey, team, do you
Flat
know what a
Earth.
cardinal
What is the
direction is? Do you understand north?
I absolutely know
Okay.
from
How
my
are there any
position which way north, south, east, and west is.
Doesn't everything lead exactly to space? I mean, how are the directions on a ball?
Hold on. Okay, so flat man, how did God sacrifice directions?
Well, he
Because
allowed the
he
ball
does.
to. He allowed the ball. He allowed the ball, and the whole crazy 23.4 degree tilt, and I don't understand it all completely, but I believe
Obviously.
I believe that the heliocentric
I'm
hope.
not trying to diss on you at all. It's just that I don't think you understand it.
Well, no, but I mean, he at the same time he can't claim to know it's all false, but then not know like how it's false or why it's false or anything. It's kind of an internal contradiction. I mean, do you understand? Do you understand like how that's an internal contradiction there? Because you're saying that you have enough knowledge to know that it's false, but you don't have enough knowledge to explain why it's false or anything like that. Like it's a weird thing.
Okay, but listen, I've been at this for less than 2 years, and I still have to work and feed myself and all that bullshit. If I could just spend all day mapping the Earth and watching the sun angles and all that sort of stuff, yeah, I probably could figure out more. But it's just not very likely.
Why don't you spend that time? Why don't you spend the time actually learning the actual science? I'm really curious. We got to start wrapping it up. So we're going to kind of bring it to a close. We do have another discussion tonight with fight the flat Earth versus flat Earth Jesus. So we are going to be wrapping up a little bit. But my final question: if you have that extra free time, and I mean this very sincerely, why don't you actually go learn the actual science? And then if you think you can debunk it and become famous, because I guarantee it, if you actually demonstrate the Earth was flat, you'd be the most famous person on the entire planet. I have no doubt about that. And I have no doubt that you won't be able to do it because everybody who has learned the science has realized, oh, crap, it's not flat. So instead of having this assumption that it's flat, why don't you do what every other good scientist would do and say, you know what? I have a hypothesis. I'm going to test it. I'm going to try to falsify it. Or if you want to go and tabula rasa and say, I don't know either way, look at it that way and learn the science and the mathematics and then go, oh, okay, this is the only correct conclusion that we can come to, which, by the way, Team Skeptic was right on. There is no other possible way to look at it. So, especially with the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, and the Equator, that is how it works in Stellarium. Anybody can go get Stellarium, download it. It's a great program.
It's free.
It works. I mean, it will actually predict things like eclipses. If I said, what day is this eclipse? You can go to a certain city. It'll show the eclipse, right? You can't do that on a flat Earth model. So yeah, we know that the round Earth works.
You can actually look far enough in the future that you can actually see the precession of the equinoxes. You can see the precession of Polaris. It's fucking badass and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can download.
Go play with it, man. It's great. Celestia has another one too. But anyways, let's wrap this up. So we're gonna let the Flurfer actually give the last word. So Team Skeptic, why don't you promote yourself and give your final thoughts on this?
Well, my final thoughts is that I do believe that you're out there looking for the truth, and that's never a bad thing. Okay, be skeptical of everything, but start being skeptical of yourself and your own understanding, your own belief system, because that's the only way you're ever going to strengthen that with not only yourself but anybody around you or anybody that you ever meet, is to be able to strengthen your own resolve. And I believe that if, like Steve said, if you went out there and you learned the sciences and you learned the reason why certain things are the way they are, like take your logical deduction skills and say, how is it possible for everybody to see something so small in the same spot? And don't use something fantastical as Jeranism's, personal atmospheric dome, because that's bullshit. That's his word salad he's feeding to people like yourself who are hungry for it. And while I enjoyed the conversation, I feel the same way I felt about my opponent last week. I don't think you provided anything whatsoever that exclusively supports your idea that the Earth is flat. And I'm going to chalk this up as another win for the globe model.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right, closing statement.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me read the super chats first, in case there's some super stuff for you that people have asked. Then you can give the closing, and then I'm gonna let Godless Engineer kind of take us out with some closing thoughts of his and anything wise and profound that he wants to say. Gee, are you gonna stick around for the next one?
Yeah, I'm
Got
here
time?
for the next one as long as you'll have me.
Sweet. We'll have you. As long as we're not talking about Occam's razor, epistemology, or playing with my balls, I'm cool with that. All right, so Res Instance, $10. I have to head off to work now. Oh wait, nope, was that? Nope, wrong one. You know what? Give me 1 second here. I got to change these. These are the wrong super chats. So give me a second here. Go ahead and do your wrap up then.
All right. Like I said before, I think the heliocentric hoax is the hoax of the creator. I think the creator put craters on the moon to convince you it was a rock. But he wrote the angel. He made the angels. He wrote the angles. The Earth was going to come out moving around the sun at 66,600 miles per hour every single time. And I don't think our creator wastes space. I think heliocentrism was given to us for a reason. And all this information that you guys have is actually going to help us figure out how the flat Earth really does work. There are interesting theories right now about the ice dome and that the sun and the moon are actually just projections of light and the focal point of light coming through the convex dome. And that can probably change up some of the way we think about how the sun is moving around at the equinox. It's going to require a lot of thought. Your model isn't even perfected. They've just said that they think the sun is even bigger than it is now. And this is 2,500 years. We've been at it for a few years, and we don't have any of the resources that the governments and space agencies of the world have put into this. So to think that the flat earthers should have it all figured out and the explanations for how it all happens right now is just ludicrous. It is very complex. God didn't make anything worthwhile easy, but it is all going to come together. We were sacrificed in the age of Pisces, the fish story symbolized by the ichthys, the fish story. Jesus was not a man. Jesus is all a man. We were all put up on the cross. When the plane became a planet, they just added the T at the end. It's the Bible for a reason. It was written by the bull god, Satan. And God, if you take so either the world is a chaos, it's all here by happenstance, it's the infinite dust storm is real, or this place was designed, created by an ingenious creator, and it's all coded. The language is there for a reason. God didn't make Adam and Eve. He made a dam, and then he made Eve, and he made it level. He put the frickin' level. He made it all level. There's more to this place than you think. Go to my channel. The truth shall set you free. I'll tell you some of the weirdest stories. Listen to this. The first flat smack I ever did, there was a car with a license plate outside that was 666. Oh, it's just a coincidence, I guess. Crazy shit's been happening to me since I've gone flat, and you can call it chaos, but that would be very ignorant.
It's not chaos.
Alrighty.
It's coincidence.
Well, okay. So you've got math, science, and actual testable stuff, or you can have what he said. Take a pick. But let's get through these super chats real quick. We got a couple of them, and then I'm gonna let G take us out. Flat Earth, fight the flat Earth. Please message me. Send me an email. Steve, ask anything at gmail.com. I've already got in touch with your adversary there, Flat Earth Jesus. So he's good to go. He says, bring it, I think. So bring your end game. So we got Renee, $2. Love is bombarding children's website with flat Earth. Okay, teach the kids the controversy, right? No. Brainary, 100 SEK. I think that's Crohn's. This is hilarious. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome. And the 800 people that watch this, we apologize to them. Renee, $5. Operation Mass Globortions by bombarding children's websites. Be ahead of the curve and jump off the demonic spinning ball deception. Be smarter. We appreciate that. You know what? I'm going to go on record. If Satan is deceiving us, then Satan's more honorable than God. I'm not going to believe in a deity that somehow
Satan
makes math and science and everything. Yes, Satan is God. Okay, cool. Luciferian or just like temple stuff, like Satan's a real being to you?
Satan is God's deceptive self.
Okay. Renee, $2. Donald Trump Space Force is fake like Star Trek. Well, everything about Donald Trump is fake, so no collusion. There was collusion. Renee, $2. No curvaton because it's flat and stationary. Well, thank you. Most of our super chats came from flat earthers tonight. Thank you. We do appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Eric, $2. Ask the flat earth how plate tectonics work. You want to do that in a nutshell before GE takes us out? Plate tectonics? No? All right. Hail Satan. All right. So thanks for you two for joining us. This was fun and educational. I feel like I've learned so much. Not really, but Team Skeptic, you did have a really good presentation. I do agree with you wholeheartedly on everything you said. John, go ahead and do what you do. Take us out. Please give us something poetic. I don't know anything.
Well, we didn't really learn anything here tonight other than I think that flat earth man over here is either a Poe or he needs to seek serious psychological help. Anybody that can rattle off all of that kind of thing definitely is not mentally stable, I would say. So I hope that you can get some help if you even trust anybody to actually help you with that. But nothing that he said there at the end really made sense, other than he thinks that the devil wrote the Bible or something. I don't know about all the rest of the shit. But I have to say, if I had to crown anybody as a winner, it would be Team Skeptic arguing against the crazy man in the straitjacket. That's who I would pick. Is Team Skeptic. So bravo to Team Skeptic for a win. You had a really great presentation, and I'm sure that we'll have you back sometime. If you people are not subscribed to Team Skeptic, you should go right now. I've been spamming his channel in the comment section there, so definitely go subscribe. And I guess we'll see you guys when we bring on a Fight the Flat Earth and was it Flat Earth Jesus or something?
3.5 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna be setting up really quickly. So no collusion, no curvature. Hail Hydra.
There you go.
Non sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.